The mess hall went silent the moment she walked in. Her uniform, creased yet simple, bore no decorations, no medals, no insignia that commanded respect. Just the plain, olive-green fabric of a newly assigned logistics officer. A few soldiers snickered under their breath, but it was the booming laughter of Colonel Hayes that cut through the air. "Well, would you look at this," he scoffed, leaning back in his chair. "Did they run out of real officers, or did they send us the laundry crew instead?" Every eye turned toward her, Lieutenant Sarah Monroe. Her jaw tightened, but she said nothing. Her gaze stayed calm, almost detached, as if his words had bounced off armor far tougher than her uniform. She saluted sharply. "Reporting for duty, sir." The colonel waved dismissively, still smirking. "At ease, Lieutenant. Let's hope you can file paperwork faster than you found your iron." Some soldiers laughed. Sarah simply nodded, her face unreadable. Then she quietly took her seat in the far corner, away from the noise, away from the prideful glares. But behind that quiet composure was a story that no one there knew, a story written in blood, loss, and an unbreakable will. 2 years earlier, Sarah Monroe had been deep in the mountains of Afghanistan, not as a logistics officer, but as an embedded field medic with SEAL Team 8. Her small frame and calm demeanor had made her seem out of place at first. Yet when the bullets flew, Sarah was the one crawling through the mud under fire, pressing her hands into open wounds, whispering to dying men, "You're not going home in a bag today." It was on that deployment that she saved Lieutenant James Keller, a SEAL officer who'd been shot twice during a night raid gone wrong. Sarah had dragged him half a mile under gunfire, treating his wounds while bleeding from her own. She refused evacuation until everyone else was safe. When the mission ended, she was quietly reassigned. She never sought recognition. She refused every medal. She just wanted peace. And now, that same woman sat quietly in a base mess hall, mocked for the way her uniform looked. A week later, the base was abuzz with preparations for a joint training exercise. Word was, a SEAL unit was flying in to lead it. The Marines were eager, the colonel even more so. He loved to boast about his leadership in front of elite units. When the helicopters arrived, everyone gathered on the parade ground. Dust whipped up from the rotors, and out stepped 6 SEALs in dark combat gear. Their commanding officer, Lieutenant Keller, moved with quiet authority. As the colonel strutted forward, hand extended and ego blazing, Keller barely acknowledged him. His eyes scanned the lineup, until they locked on Sarah. He froze. Then his jaw tightened, and slowly, he raised his hand to his brow in a crisp, perfect salute. The air went still. Every Marine looked between them, confused. The colonel's hand hovered awkwardly midair. Sarah blinked, uncertain at first, then returned the salute with quiet respect. "Permission to speak freely, sir?" Keller asked the colonel, his voice steady. Go ahead, Lieutenant," the colonel muttered, trying to recover his confidence. Keller turned toward the Marines, his gaze sweeping over them. "You're standing in front of the reason I'm alive today. 2 years ago, in the Hindu Kush, I bled out in the dirt with enemy fire all around. That woman dragged me through hell, patched me up with her bare hands, and refused to leave until every one of my men was safe. So if you think her uniform makes her any less of a soldier, you're damn wrong." The silence that followed was absolute. The colonel's face drained of color. No one dared move, even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Then Keller took a step forward, addressing Sarah directly. "Ma'am, it's an honor to finally stand beside you again." Sarah's eyes glistened. "It's good to see you standing, Lieutenant," she replied softly. Keller smiled faintly. "Because of you." That moment changed everything. The same soldiers who had mocked her now looked at her with reverence. The colonel avoided her gaze for days, his booming voice unusually quiet in briefings. But Sarah didn't seek revenge or acknowledgement. She went about her duties as before, methodical, patient, humble. It was only when the next mission briefing came that the colonel finally approached her. He stood by her side, hat in hand, voice low. "Lieutenant Monroe," he began, "I owe you an apology. I judged what I could see, not what you'd done." Sarah looked at him, expression gentle. "It's all right, sir. Most people do." He nodded slowly, almost ashamed. "Maybe so. But from now on, they won't." Months later, during a joint field exercise, Sarah was seen training new recruits, not with harsh words, but with the same quiet strength that had once carried her through chaos. One of the young privates asked her, "Ma'am, how do you stay so calm when people don't believe in you?" Sarah smiled, her eyes distant with memory. Because belief isn't something you wait for. It's something you build, one act, one day, one choice at a time. And when she walked through the base gates that evening, her plain uniform caught the setting sun, still without medals, still without the shine others craved. But this time, every soldier who passed her straightened their posture. Some saluted first, and at the far end of the compound, Colonel Hayes stood silently, watching. Then, with quiet respect, he raised his hand to his brow, the same way Lieutenant Keller had. Because sometimes the greatest honor isn't found in the uniform itself, but in the soul of the one who wears it.